morning, everyone. We appreciate that nice introduction, and as Joe said, I'm Monica Dombrowski, the Technology Education Manager at Gale Borden, and I'm joined today by Melissa Bernasic, the Director, or soon-to-be Director of Information Services, and Phil Schneider, our Digital Services Librarian. So today, we are going to talk about a few different things here. So let me pull up our agenda. First, we're going to talk about the changing roles in librarianship, move on to professional skills and personal qualities of 21st century librarians, and then we're going to talk about what do they want in a workplace, how you find one, how do you make one out of existing staff, and then some potential situations you might encounter. So let's start by talking about changing roles. Traditional versus 21st century librarians. So while our mission to connect people to resources is the same as it's always been, the roles we play in support of that mission are changing over time as the needs of our patrons are changing. It doesn't have anything to do with age or amount of years in the profession, but it has everything to do with the view about the roles librarians should be playing in libraries. So here are a few examples of the differences in roles between traditional librarians and 21st century librarians. And the first one is the role of sage versus partner. A sage has all the answers and kind of is approached for questions, while a partner, may divulge that he or she doesn't know the answer, but is willing to find out the answer with you. A guide versus an advisor. A guide points the way, then leaves you on your own to explore, while an advisor makes recommendations based on both your situation and his or her experience. A collector versus a promoter. A collector builds and promotes a collection, while a promoter looks for ways to get it into the hands of patrons. So it's not just about building the collection, but about promoting use of the collection. Guardian versus change agent. A guardian protects and promotes established methods, while a change agent continually evaluates established methods and abandons them if they no longer support goals. An implementer actions existing ideas, while an innovator generates new ones. A maintainer focuses on accomplishing his or her individual tasks, while a networker focuses on connecting with others in an effort to improve everyone's work. An informer tells someone how to do something, while an instructor uses examples, visuals, or hands-on experiences to show someone how to do something. And a selector chooses the most suitable resource from those available, while a designer creates a custom resource to meet the need. Now that we've compared the roles, my colleague Melissa is going to explain some of the professional skills 21st century librarians have that make them so valuable. Melissa?
Thank you, Monica. 21st century librarians are comfortable using online tools and exploring new ones. They usually are the first to sign up for vendor trials, are early adopters of new software versions, and sign up to test and provide feedback on new products and services. They may even explore tools that seemingly don't pertain to libraries, but are curious about what patrons are using. Exploring is a way of life for them, and they enjoy self-directed learning tools through like YouTube, lynda.com, and online user groups. Once they hear about a new technology, they mine the internet to find out everything they can about its viability for their organization. What are other users saying? How does it integrate with other devices and applications? Who else has tried it? What issues can it help them resolve? In other words, their research has an evaluative slant with a larger view that stretches beyond their individual uses of the information. A more experienced researcher will be able to provide the library with a solid recommendation for adopting a new technology or not. 21st century librarians know they are teachers and believe that their libraries are learning institutions within which they will be required to teach. Large groups, small groups, one-on-one, in-person, online, they may not know what form it will take, but they know they are going to teach. Most librarians I know, both traditional and modern, have been teaching for quite a while now, but it's the formal acknowledgement of the role and its expectations that have really evolved over the last 10 years or so. A 21st century librarian will be able to easily rework information and adapt it to suit a larger or smaller group. And we'll talk more about quick thinking in the next section. They can adapt their communication style to fit the needs of people to whom they are speaking. They understand that not everyone is best approached in the same way and are able to sacrifice their preferred communication style to make a conversation go more comfortable, go smoother, or achieve a more successful outcome. They also know how to build a professional network and leverage the strengths within that network. For example, when developing a new idea, they may send it out to their online user group and ask for feedback before presenting it to their director to be sure they've considered every angle and anticipated responses. There's power in the community, and they're not afraid to harness it. Expect that a 21st century librarian with previous experience may retain a mentor from a previous position. He or she will also use social networks like LinkedIn to stay in touch. 21st century librarians see the value in collaborating with others and seek out opportunities to do so. They understand that the work might be easier or faster with the help of others. Since they always have another idea or project waiting to begin, it behooves them to involve others. 21st century librarians will use their coworkers' strengths to improve outcomes. They truly believe that a project turns out better with everyone's input and do their best to find ways to foster group involvement in their libraries. They embrace the intersection between IT, design, teaching, and librarianship. Because of this, they've taken steps to secure technical skills that allow them to create artifacts, fix problems, and add bells and whistles to existing collateral. Skills like coding, web design, instructional design, and multimedia development not only allow these folks to move around within their organizations as new roles are created, but also take the look and feel of library services and programs to a more professional level. They understand that a library, like any other organization of business, is laced with politics and a cultural landscape that they must navigate effectively to effect change. They spend time and energy building relationships with others so that they can understand and assimilate into the organization's culture. Their driving force is contributing their ideas and talents, and get that it is easier to push the boundaries when it counts if you stay within them most of the time. While the professional qualities are important, there are some underlying personal qualities that you need to look for. Now I'm going to turn it over to Phil so he can tell you about those. Phil?
Thank you, Melissa. All right. 21st century librarians are willing to work on a variety of roles and tasks, even though they may fall outside of his or her realm. They understand that a job description is a jumping off point and expects to have things change on a regular basis. 21st century librarians embrace positive change and can even find it exciting. Having flexible staff results in an organization that is able to hit the ground running when change occurs. They are fearless and begin with tasks with a can-do attitude, having confidence that they could learn, adapt, and find solutions to any problem that will arise. They expect to be continuously growing, learning, and will be eager to try new things that will help them in these endeavors. Oftentimes, you will find them trying new foods, going to interesting places, planning exciting activities, or pursuing unusual hobbies. They're visionary and able to look down the road to see where ideas can go after they grow. These creative individuals can make leaps in their minds to connect seemingly random pieces of information and synthesize them into innovative ideas and solutions. They look into the future to see what is possible and understands how and when to push the boundaries. They are proactive and take initiative without being required to do so. They see opportunities or potential problems, then devise and implement action plans on their own. For example, I know a 21st century librarian whose child is supposed to take driver's ed in school next fall, but has no room in his schedule unless he sacrifices a core class that is needed for college. To resolve this issue, she has already met with her son's advisor to come up with an alternative plan. It is this kind of can-do attitude and initiative that will help them quickly turn roadblocks into solutions and opportunities. They are quick thinking and do not have to wait to gather available pieces of information before being able to make a decision and take action. They are not easily put off by people and are typically adept problem solvers and great in times of crisis. Part of this comes from their ability to read people and situations, which allows them to adjust their communication style accordingly. Finally, they are persuasive and understand timing, as well as how to approach others to secure their support. They are the ones who get their friends to agree to makeovers, their buddy to take the polar plunge, their son to take his cough medicine, and their husband or wife to take in a cat when everyone else said it couldn't be done. They read their audience, hit the right time, use the right arguments, and enjoy the resulting successful outcomes. Everyone wants this kind of person on their team. I know I sure do. But do they want to be on my team? Monica is going to lead us through some of the key elements that 21st century librarians are looking for in the workplace. Monica?
Thank you, Phil. So how do you find these people? What are they looking for? Since they're flexible, they expect flexibility in return. They want it in their work location, their work schedule, and their work tasks. They want to be able to work at the library, at a coffee shop, or at a community center if that's what they feel is needed, because switching up the environment is good for creativity. They want flexibility in their schedule because their life outside the library is as important to them as their work is, and they want to know that they can have both. They want flexibility in their work tasks to keep their minds interested, their senses sharp, and their skills challenged. They want autonomy because they are creative people. Much of their energy is spent in thinking about things like solutions to problems, ways to do something better, or new services the library can offer, and one cannot always predict when the brainstorming mood will strike. They need a boss who trusts them, who believes that they're capable of planning and managing their own work tasks as long as they are on track with deadlines and deliverables. Confidence in their ability to self-manage is critical to their happiness in the workplace. They need a team of colleagues who are open to new ideas. They don't like to hear, "We tried that once and it didn't work." They have the foresight to know that since things change all the time, the idea might have been ahead of its time or lacked the right people in the right places to make it happen. And while they understand that their ideas won't always be adopted, they need to know that they will be considered. Making a habit of shutting down their ideas is a fast way to get them to start looking around for other opportunities, because at the heart of it, they want evidence that they are helping to create change, even in some small way. Before you hire a 21st century librarian, you need to understand that you are about to hire an individual who intends to go somewhere else within your organization. It's not that he or she won't be satisfied for perhaps a long time with the job into which he or she is hired. It's that he or she plans to continually build knowledge and experience over the course of his or her career and end up being of more value to the organization over time. Your up-and-comer needs to feel sure that there are places within your organization where he or she can land to invest his or her time and talents in your library. While the 21st century librarian will execute the posted job description, he or she wants to personalize it and develop greater intricacies of responsibility over time. For example, you may hire someone to be a reference librarian, and he may discover he has a real talent for helping people who come in with tablet and device questions, like our Phil here. Allow him to expand his role by taking on some e-resource responsibilities, like creating quick reference guides, selecting technology books for the collection, and teaching some tablet classes. It's a win-win because it keeps him interested and lets library patrons reap the larger benefits of his expertise. As we alluded to on the last slide, 21st century librarians like to have their hands in a lot of pots. They don't like to be forced into doing only one set of tasks, but like the ability to explore hybrid models of librarianship as their norm. For example, in my role here at Gail Borden, I design technology classes, teach technology classes, train staff, help patrons with devices, manage a rotating display, select technology books for the collection, sub on the desk, co-chair the technology committee, and do technology outreach as just some of my job tasks. If I didn't have the opportunity to do all of these things and more as time goes on, I would get bored and be less satisfied with my job. Variety is the spice of life, and it certainly keeps the 21st century librarian interested. Above all, they want to collaborate. They truly believe that things are better with everyone's input. They need coworkers who want to solve a problem when it arises with multiple inputs and execute the plan as a team. They need experts to turn to with questions, and they need colleagues who will come to them with questions. They need time to dream about what is possible, brainstorm ideas, and pilot new things for programs and services. Introvert or extrovert, modern librarians enjoy collaboration and expect to work closely with others as part of a team where everyone owns the result. So now that you know who you're looking for, how do you find one of these people? Well, I'm going to let Melissa tell you a little more about that. Melissa?
Thank you, Monica. First, post your jobs on social media sites like Facebook and LinkedIn in addition to your usual channels. Ask staff members to spread the word to friends who may be qualified, and consider waiving degree requirements in lieu of experience and its potential if it's appropriate for the role. Sometimes you can find a person who still has 6 months left of school or no MLS and 15 years of teaching experience, but is perfect for the position. Think outside the box if that gets you closer to what you need. People from outside the library world can offer diverse perspectives that lead to an improved customer experience. Next, craft your job descriptions to reflect the transferable skills you need for the long haul. 21st century librarians don't expect to stay in the same jobs they were hired into over the course of their careers. So you need to look down the road and see what types of development paths they might take and pull out the skills they must have to progress. For example, at Gail Borden, a librarian may start out working in information services and later move up to information desk supervisor, information services director, public services division chief, and then deputy director. While different things would be required in each role, confident public speaking would be required in all positions, so you want to be ensured to include that on the job posting. Asking for a digital portfolio or sample projects with the application will provide you with real-life examples of candidate expertise. A simple flyer can help illustrate their command of spelling and grammar, the types of ideas they've generated, and their ability to make something visually interesting. Examples of programs can show you their creativity and marketing skills. A video sample of teaching a class can help you analyze their ability to teach, which many librarians have not been formally trained to do. And even just having a portfolio or work examples can give you a more concrete picture of their skills, abilities, career savviness, and professionalism. Conducting a web or video interview as the first step in the screening process can show you how comfortable a candidate is with technology, how she or he adjusts if a technology issue arises, and how he or she views the use of technology as a medium for providing service. For example, if you schedule first-round candidates for a Skype interview and half show up wearing a t-shirt, it might be an indicator that he or she does not view virtual platforms as professional tools and does not need to promote a professional presence. Similarly, if a candidate nails a Skype interview, It's a good indicator that he or she understands how to make use of virtual platforms for professional purposes and either has or recently has gained technology skills to operate the application. Asking questions during an interview that requires specific examples from a candidate is a fantastic way to really feel them out. You get a better idea of someone's teamwork skills when you ask a question like, tell me about a time that you were part of a team and the teamwork fell apart. What happened? What role did you play? And what was the final outcome? Instead of a question like, how would you describe your teamwork skills? A candidate who is asked to provide specific examples provides a clearer picture of how he or she has actually responded to situations, which then provides a better indicator of how he or she might respond to situations at your library. Ask the candidate to complete an activity based on a scenario you provide. Make the scenario something that would directly relate to his or her job and either give him or her time to work independently of anyone else, like a personal activity, or involve some of his or her potential peers, a group scenario. For example, if you're looking to see what kinds of ideas someone has to solve an existing problem, equip him or her with a paragraph that includes the problem, plus budget information, staff resources, and customer profiles so you can see how he or she synthesizes information and connects dots. If you want to get an idea of someone's teamwork skills, pull several staff members into a brainstorming session to generate programming ideas based on community demographics. The type of activity is up to you, but be sure it's ferreting out a 21st century skill that you want to add to your team. Ask the candidate to teach a 15 to 20-minute group class or conduct a one-on-one instruction session on some kind of technology. Allow the candidate to choose any application installed on library computers that is of interest to him or her. If doing a group class, fill the class with 4 to 6 members of the staff who have varying levels of expertise with the application so you can see how the candidate works with different levels of knowledge and experience. Prepare a question or two ahead of time so you can see how he or she responds to unplanned questions and keeps the class on track. If doing a one-on-one session, choose someone who has little experience with the application but has instruction experience of his or her own, so he or she can evaluate the candidate's skills. Seeing someone in action gives you a great overview of many skills ranging from communication to technical aptitude and helps you see how he or she works with others. Move the venue midway through the interview and change out some of the interview team. Introduce the candidate to numerous key players in your organization and begin some casual conversation to help see how the candidate reacts with various types of people and how he or she responds on the fly. Ask folks who met the candidate for their feedback and impressions after the interview to get more of a holistic read on his or her personality fit for your team. Remember, skills can be gained on the job if a candidate meets the minimum requirements, but how his or her personality fits into your team is either a hit or miss from day one, so do your best to get opinions from trusted colleagues. Not a 21st century librarian or have the staff that haven't embraced the idea? It's never too late. Because we are a profession based on learning, we are well suited to adapt to changing conditions despite our love of routine. Next, Phil's going to give you some ideas for cultivating 21st century skills with your staff. Phil?
Thanks, Melissa. All right, adults learn through play just like children do. So don't be afraid to try a new device, app, or program. It can be almost anything, and it doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. For an example, take a tool you know someone in your library is using that you have not yet explored, or an app you heard kids talking about after school. Feel free to dive right in or search YouTube for how-to videos to assist you. If you get stuck, don't be ashamed. Find a resident expert that can get you up to speed. Pick something that has a chance of helping you improve yourself by becoming more productive, organized, energized, or any other goal you have in mind. This will help increase your motivation to use it on a regular basis. After a few weeks, move on to something else so that you can keep your technology skills fresh and up to date. It's important to network with others inside and outside of your organization. The library community is small and many libraries are understaffed, so it pays to share ideas when resources are scarce. One of the best parts about our profession is how willing we are to share knowledge and work. Instead of hoarding things and making everyone reinvent the wheel, we share freely. In fact, in our profession, it's quite a compliment if one of our colleagues likes our work enough to use it. Rails has some great groups for getting to know other libraries and similar jobs across our state. And visiting other libraries helps you make contacts, pick up new ideas, and find help in places where you least expect it. The more we deal with change, the more comfortable it becomes for us and the quicker we adapt to it. Think about something in your personal life that you'd like to change, like exercising more, spending more time on a hobby, or finally cleaning out and organizing your basement. Create a plan to work on the change over the course of 3 weeks and stick to it. Once you've completed the first change, assign yourself another one and keep it going. By creating a pattern of change in your life, you train your mind to expect change and better adapt when unexpected changes come knocking on your door. Brainstorming is critical to helping your creative juices flow, so leave time in your schedule to practice this art. You might try creating a list of things you'd like to change in your area, classes the library could offer, places in the community where you could hold book discussion groups, or unconventional programs that the library could offer. If you're stuck for ideas, use a creative book or bounce ideas off coworkers, friends, and family to help you get started. Go crazy. No one has to see your list but you. Plus, the exercise will help you think outside the box. Don't get discouraged. Even if you start off with a bunch of duds, with time and patience, that great idea will come to you. Take those good ideas you came up with and share them with a coworker you trust and see if they might merit a project sponsored by the library or funded by a grant. Teaching a class helps you practice breaking down topics into steps and components that will allow you to easily explain them to others. Even if you've never taught a class before, there probably is something that you are an expert on that you can teach someone else. Think about what your coworkers come to you for assistance with, or even a favorite hobby that involves using some kind of technology, and turn that into a class. For example, I turned my love of finding unique items on eBay and Craigslist into some of the best attended classes at our library. If you need some help starting, we have a design document template and our project websites that are free for you to use. But if you want something even more basic, you can always start by creating an outline of topics and subtopics to create a hands-on activity for each one. It also helps build your confidence as an instructor when you see what you know laid out on paper in lesson format. Start a buddy program for existing staff members. Pair a 21st century librarian with a traditional librarian so the two can share knowledge and expertise. Provide a structured list of topics from them, for them to cover during regular meetings, ranging from where they see the library going to how to deal with conflict. Include exercises where they have to talk to each other about the views on our profession and teach each other things that fall inside of their realms of expertise. Allow them to meet during work hours, and require some sort of final project that has an opportunity to improve or enhance service using a blend of 21st century skills and traditional ones, such as creating, posting, an animated presentation on Goodreads for book club members. In other words, force them to share ideas so that they learn to speak a common language and see the value they both add to the organization. Regularly arrange and support activities that allow staff members to build relationships and get to know each other. Start meetings with silly icebreakers, create a board game group, sponsor a department mascot contest, have a chili cook-off, or plan a community scavenger hunt for your next staff day. Let your mind go wild with ideas to mix and match staff members. Anything that will help people get to know each other and does not violate your personal policies is fair game. Encouraging activities outside of the workplace works as well. Some examples could be bowling leagues, movie clubs, book clubs, wellness groups, or attending local community events. These all provide great opportunities for staff to interact with each other as people, which can lead them to grow into better teammates. But what if you cannot get existing staff on board? Monica has a few words of advice on that. Monica?
Thank you, Phil. Sometimes, despite our best laid plans and solid efforts, staff members resist change. This can be particularly true when it involves philosophical shifts on the nature of their professional identity and the roles they've played. In these cases, it's important for all of us to remember one thing: everyone has to go on the journey. At the heart of things, employment is a contract between an organization and individuals. So on the organization side, they agree to pay employees to do work that supports their goals and objectives, and on the employee side, they agree to complete work in exchange for money. The work the organization pays employees to do may change over time, and employees always reserve the right to opt out and leave if they no longer wish to do the work. However, what's not okay is for employees to stay on payroll and opt out of the work. Now, I know this sounds a little harsh, and I wish that there was another way to put it, but you can't move forward if people are being allowed to hold you back. Your mission of becoming or maintaining a visionary 21st century library can only succeed if the library's employees make it happen. Plans only become actions if they're implemented, and it's the staff members that are responsible for the implementation piece. This means that leaders have to help employees see the vision, see how they contribute to the library's success, and understand that help will be provided if needed to help close skill gaps so that they're properly equipped to do their jobs. That being said, once leadership has done their part, they need to make it clear to employees that they will be required to fulfill the duties of the roles to which they are assigned without exception. There is simply no room on the journey for those who do not want to come along. I can say with confidence after 20 years of managing people that nearly all change-resistant employees can be put into one of two buckets: skill issues or will issues. A skill issue is where the employee lacks the skills to comply, and a will issue is where the employee lacks the desire to comply. Skill-based resistance isn't usually hostile, though folks may express some frustration in a variety of ways. Librarians in particular pride themselves on knowing things, and when folks who are used to knowing things suddenly feel like novices, it creates stress. For skill-based resistors, it's important to be encouraging, point out past successes in adapting to change, and create a formal development plan to gain the necessary skills. Formal development plans need to have specific objectives, include activities with measurable outcomes, and be time-bound with regular progress checks along the way. For example, if an employee is expected to help the public with advanced Microsoft Word questions in the computer center, but currently functions only at a beginner level, his development plan might include attending a class, watching videos on lynda.com, and then creating a document that demonstrates mastery of advanced Microsoft Word topics. If the development plan is solid and the employee successfully executes the plan but still can't perform at the expected level, you can look at other roles within your organization where he or she might be better used. For example, as I stated before, if this employee works in your computer center, perhaps he or she can move into a position in your circ department where he or she has all the required skills for the job. That being said, I advise against moving folks if either of the following two conditions apply. First, they don't have all the skills to be successful in a new position, or second, that they have underlying will issues. So let's talk about will issues. It's a waste of resources to throw training at a person if it's a will issue because it can't stick when his or her mind is closed to the very idea of change. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my career, and I ask you to trust me on this to avoid repeating my mistakes. When someone has no desire to take the journey, you must take another course of action with him or her, or you risk long-term damage to the team. If you supervise the employee, schedule a meeting with him or her and be honest about how you see the situation. Address the elephant in the room in a respectful and professional way. Open the door for the employee to provide some insight into his or her point of view and perhaps the source of his or her resistance. Many times a will issue is really a mask for a skill issue, and you can ferret this out during a candid conversation and then go ahead with the development plan that we discussed previously. If it's not a skill issue and it truly is a will issue, express understanding of the employee's point of view, but firmly state that if he or she wants to continue being part of the team, he or she will need to meet the requirements of the position. Share that continued noncompliance will not be permitted and may lead to disciplinary action. Be sure to speak to HR and other appropriate parties in your organization prior to scheduling such a conversation to be sure that you're acting within your organization's policies and guidelines and are aware of proper escalation and documentation procedures. Here are some additional resources for further reading and exploration, and when we send out the slides from the presentation, you can click on these links and explore them on your own. So in summary today, we've talked about changing roles, professional skills and personal qualities of 21st century librarians, what they want in a workplace, how you find one, how you can help existing staff to adapt, and what to do if you can't get staff to adapt. We know that's a lot of information, and we're very passionate about this topic and could really talk about it all day. But in the interest of time, we would love to open it up now for your questions.
Okay, thank you, Monica and Phil and Melissa. So for all of you listening out there, I do encourage you to use the questions tab on the right-hand side if you have any thoughts, if you have any questions or comments for our presenters today. And if we aren't seeing questions after a minute or two, Monica, you could just go into what you want to show the group in terms of Gail's toolkit, and during that time, people can also, if they have questions, send those in, and we can watch that as well.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, so far it looks like we have maybe a quiet bunch, or you covered absolutely everything that needs to be known. Oh, here we go. I think Shanna's going to have a question that she can read to you guys.
Yeah, I have a question here from Elizabeth. She asks, do you give your staff a certain % of time to learn new technology or skills?
Here at our library, and I'll let the other two jump in as well, we don't give staff a certain percentage of time. We kind of treat it on a case-by-case basis. So there might be someone who needs more time and more intensive training than someone else. So we try to accommodate it, kind of differentially based on the individual. We do some overall staff training when we adopt new systems, like when we went to Outlook from Rackspace that we used previously. We did set up some kind of overarching staff training, but we like to encourage conversations between the employees and their managers and then kind of customize training solutions based on those conversations.
I have another question from Janice. Can I get a copy of the basic computer lesson plan?
Absolutely, and we will show you where that is on our website as well. After our questions wrap up, Melissa's going to do a little 5-minute show and tell of the website and show you guys where you can find those resources.
Okay, so it looks as if those are all the questions we have at the moment. So again, everybody, you can still send in questions, but Monica, if you wanna have Melissa launch into that, and we'll see if we have any other questions come in the next 5 minutes or so.
All right, thanks, Joe. And just a quick reminder, visit us at ILA. The poster session that we have is Friday, October 23rd from 9 to 10 a.m. So I hope if you're attending ILA, you'll be able to stop by and say hello.
And we will have cookies.
And we'll have cookies, yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch the website. This is our home screen where you'll see pictures from our classes and information about recently uploaded class series. Most of our class series here are comprised of 3 to 5 individual classes. So when you see the word series, it truly is a series and meant to operate that way, although you can certainly pick and choose what you feel is best for your library. The About the Toolkit section gives a brief overview of our grant project, which runs 2 years, so through March 2017. There's also professional profiles about each of us and information about our LinkedIn profile that you can use. You, of course, can contact any of us through the contact form here on the feedback page, but it may be helpful for you to talk to one of us versus another. Monica is our main contact for the grant, and she can certainly help you if you want to talk to one of us individually. The Learning in Libraries section is a bibliography about adult learning styles, technology, how to do evaluations. So you can click the PDF for a full bibliography. If you'd prefer to browse just based on type, we have separated out for you websites, articles, and books. The Tracks and Classes page is where you will see the most action on our website as we upload new series of classes. So information about the survey, you'll see the red button is there. We always do a survey with our classes. We think it's important to analyze what users are actually learning and what their takeaways are. It's helpful for us to get feedback about future classes as well. So if you click any of these links, we'll be uploading more as the time goes on. So for example, mouse and keyboard basics is one class in this series, computer basics, internet basics, and email basics. For each one of these, you'll see a design document that's meant for the instructor. It includes learning objectives and what you need to do to prepare for the class. The PowerPoint presentation, activity sheet, and handout for the patrons are completely customizable. We've made these so that you can simply download them, put your logo on, and then go ahead and give the class with very little preparation. We understand that computer classes are offered all across the country. The libraries are doing this, and that's why we found that it was very important to put this information online. Why are we all recreating the wheel? That's completely unnecessary. So when we have this information up here, we hope that you will download it, that you'll use it, and if you're coming up with a class on your own, that you may consider becoming a collaborator with us and share your own information. As always, everyone loves feedback. So if you're an educator, if you're a librarian, if you'd like to contribute, please send us an email. If you have any other feedback, we'd love to hear it. So this will go right into Monica's email box, and she'll be able to respond to you. You can always contact us by snail mail if you prefer, or telephone. So we've put our address and information up there as well. And so I'll just go back to the home page here. I think we've got a couple more questions coming in, so I'll let Monica step in and ask those. Don't forget, galestoolkit.com. You want to bookmark that and check back often. Okay, Monica, here you go.
Thanks, Melissa. So we had a question come in from Austin, who said he's the head of an adult services department and has tried to get his staff on board with e-readers and other e-resource types of things, and he's having trouble convincing them. And this is actually something that we talk about a lot in our communities. Those of us here are part of one of the Rails groups called the Computer Class Instructors Group, and it meets quarterly. And we actually hosted the meeting last week, and we were kind of talking about this. as an ancillary part of one of our other conversations. And it kind of, my advice to you, Austin, is that you have to find the motivation for the resistance. So again, if there's a particular person whose approval you need either within the group or to move forward with something, you have to kind of find a way in with that person. You have to understand what's important to them, why are they saying no or being closed-minded to it, if they had a bad experience in the past, are they afraid that financially the library can't support these types of things? Are they a traditional librarian who's maybe afraid of change themselves and, kind of not being relevant with the technological aspect? And then kind of work through that with that person, because you only have to get one person on board, but it has to be the right person. It has to be the person that everyone else looks to kind of, gauge their own reactions to things. Oh, okay, well, if she says it's good, then it must be good. There's one in every group that is kind of the ringleader. And so if you can find a way to overcome their objections, even if it's with some kind of baby steps, then you're going to be on the path to affecting change there. And then I think Melissa has something to add too.
Austin also asks, how would one join the group? He says he's not in Rails, but he'd love to know about the computer instructor group.
Yeah, Austin, just send an email to me, and I will give you all of the information you need for that.
Austin, this is Melissa. I've previously been charged with training up the information services, our equivalent of adult services here, and also getting information out about e-readers and e-books to the entire library. And this is definitely a huge challenge. There's not only the frightening technology component, but it's a lot of information and it's constantly changing. One of the things I found was important from the get-go is to figure out which level of staff needs to know what. In our information services department, we have clerks, we have library associates with bachelor degree level, and we also have several librarians with MLS. And so it didn't seem appropriate to expect all of them to have the same knowledge. So what I did was figure out, okay, what are the top 5 things that I want everybody in the building to know about ebooks? So I created a little handout about that, pushed that out to all staff, and asked them to read through it, ask questions, talk to each other about it. And so that was a level that was pretty easy to achieve. And then from there, I expect my library associates to be able to work with ebooks and e-readers and other technology in a way that they can handle all of the common electronic resources if everything works perfectly. We expect customers of all levels to be able to do this, so our library associates should certainly be able to do that. We have several handouts step by step, so if an associate can sit down and work with a customer one-on-one if everything goes perfectly, that's ideal. And then the librarians step in when there's any kind of technical difficulty that may involve a library card expiration or some kind of new smartphone or tablet that just isn't working quite right. And then finally, my tip to you is theme it out and have fun. One of the things I did to get a little bit more buy-in from our youth department is we created a video about ebooks that was completely made with puppets. So that was fun. And the video was a full ebook transaction as if everything went perfectly. So we had a puppet customer and a puppet librarian. And that was really fun to make. And I think we had really good response as well. And then another year we did like a Star Trek theme. And so when you add just a little bit of dose of fun, I think it makes it easier for the staff to become involved and they're more engaged. Yeah, okay. We have a couple more questions coming in, it looks like. Or we're responding to through chat, so just give us a minute here. Okay, of course, if you have any questions for any of us, I'm going to pull the PowerPoint back up here. well, our link isn't showing. We'll put up it's tech ed.
I'll chat it.
Okay, teched@gailborden.info is our email address, and Monica's going to push that out through chat. So that's a really easy way to reach the Gale's Toolkit team, and we can respond to you. And if you're looking to join our team, we'd love to have you, and you can help us contribute content.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we'll do a last call for questions here. I do want to mention to everyone, we did record today's webinar, so if you had a colleague or someone else that you want to be able to watch this will be posted to our Continuing Education Archives page in about a week, so you can watch for that. And Monica, you said it was fine for us to share a copy of the slides as well. Is that right?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely.
So that will be posted along with the recording, and then hopefully you all have a copy of the handout as well, which if you didn't see it in my email, it is on the right-hand side on your menu bar, if you didn't get that yet. So it looks like that is it for questions. So I just want to thank our team there from Gail Borden for the webinar today, and I'll echo what Melissa said about Gale's Toolkit. One of the reasons why Rails is providing some support for this, because we see it as a really great project, and all of us, I think, regardless of our library, probably do some level of technology instruction, and that can be a very important resource for our community, but there's no reason, as Melissa said, to reinvent the wheel, and we don't have to have 150 different PowerPoints that are essentially saying the same thing. So they have done this work, they've shared this information with you, and that's one thing that libraries do well, right? Resource sharing and sharing information and collaborating. So this is a great outlet for that, I think. So yes, thank you everyone for joining us, for the questions. Thank you guys, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.